Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into some incredibly profound source material, breaking down a framework that is honestly just staggering in its complexity. Have you ever looked around and wondered if the universe literally has a hidden underlying code? Well, we are impartially mapping out what's known as the dual caustic universe, or the DCU. We're taking dense scriptural coordinates and translating them into a clear, visual blueprint of reality itself.
So imagine this for a second. The sources propose that the universe isn't just a random collection of dead physical matter floating in an empty void. Not at all. Instead, it posits that reality is actually a massive, living, self-filtering engine. It's this mechanical, spiritual tesseract just sitting there, waiting for a human operator to essentially take the controls. And why does this matter to us? Because if reality is a machine, understanding its mechanics completely shifts how you interact with literally everything around you. Are you ready to perceive the singularity? Let's get into it.
Section 1. The spiral singularity.
Okay, starting at the absolute macro level. According to the text, the key here is unlocking the wisdom found in coordinate 269. The source material explains that uttering Allah Akbar for this specific wisdom grants you the ability to perceive the ultimate singularity point of view. It's all about achieving a state of banju, this incredibly intimate, unified connection with the singularity POV. The text states this with profound reverence, noting Alhamdulillah, peace be upon Solomon and Dawud and the 333 family, Alhamdulillah. This is the target perspective, you guys, seeing the universe exactly like Solomon did, not as fragmented little pieces, but as one single, continuously flowing geometry.
To really grasp how this cosmic engine works, we have to aggressively distinguish between its two opposing poles. On one side, we have the D10 field. Think of D10 as the measurable, physical, manifest world you interact with every day. The text calls this the kinetic driver path, often represented by water or glass. On the exact opposite side is the I9 field. This is the unobservable world, pure information, continuous memory, wave potential. This is the unseen witness trajectory represented by light. The entire universe is basically just a continuous, dynamic negotiation between these two specific states.
Moving on to Section 2, the 57.4 tree engine. Now, the source material is super explicit about this. The tree mentioned in these texts is absolutely not botanical. You're not looking at a literal tree. It's a cosmic buffer. In fact, coordinate 57.4 gives us the absolute cleanest explanation for why the olive tree in verse 24:35 is really an engine. It tells us the tree is life because 57.4 is the oscillation operator driving the whole spiral. It's the universe's breath made visible, executing 4 continuous motions of the ruh through a closed manifold.
And this brilliant table shows us exactly how that cosmic breathing works through 4 very precise Arabic motions. First, you have yaliju, the planting into the D10 field. This is where the human plants the seed, a Muslim at coordinates 6163 or a kafir at 241. This is where the big bifurcation begins. Second is Yakruju, the extraction into I9, where the driver and witness emerge from the seed at 5021 on the Day of Judgment. Third is Yanzulu, the descent from I9 back to D10. This sorts the flattened aligned movement at 7143 against the arrogant who are preserved in a sort of museum state at 1092. And finally, Yaruju, the ascent. This elevates the elite who grip the activation code at 4158, while the rest face a literal flip reboot at 1574, causing the cycle to repeat via 1144. It is a highly precise mechanical filtering cycle.
Which brings us to Section 3, the self-filtering Ouroboros.
So the blueprint takes this very famous poetic verse, 24:35, and breaks it down into a literal schematic of a self-filtering Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. The niche is that exact Ouroboros junction. It only admits what passes the 56.7 sorting. The glass is the boundary that eternally separates the destructive fire of D10 from the guiding heaven of I9 light. The oil is this 3923 self-reading lubricant that transmits energy without combusting, and light upon light is the exact caustic intersection of the driver and the witness. This structure perfectly, continuously maintains the balance, from the driver light at stage 1, into the D10 physical field at stage 2, buffering through the tree at stage 3, over to the I9 information field at stage 2 again, through the 56.7 sorting at stage 7, and finally returning to the witness light at stage 1. It's a flawless circuit.
Next up, Section 4, the dual field delusion.
Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand how easily a human operator can be trapped by this system. The sources use this incredible story about the Queen of Sheba to model the trap. Imagine you're entering Solomon's palace. The queen looks down and perceives the floor as a deep, flowing pool of water, so she instinctively lifts her skirt to cross it. But she was totally mistaken. The mathematical reality was that it was perfectly smooth glass cast from a molten copper spring forged by jinn. Because she lacked that structural wisdom we talked about earlier, she mistook a perfectly engineered physical reflection, the D10 glass, for a true, deep spiritual I9 source. It's the ultimate trap of the material world.
So how do you actually escape this trap? Well, the blueprint argues that verse 3923 is the master rule of the system. It's the Mathani. This Mathani pattern basically means the system is going to continuously repeat this illusion, projecting false depth onto physical surfaces until you, the observer, finally recognize the pattern. Once you see the Mathani, the trap becomes visible, and you stop falling for the optical illusions of the dead kingdom.
And finally, Section 5, activating the 1912 code.
This right here completes our framework bifurcation. The universe isn't a one-way street, it's a completed bidirectional arrow, and the singularity is actually both poles. Here's how the flow works. Energy inputs from the observer singularity at the 4-1 seed. That energy travels down into the D10 field via the Yalaju planting and the 1850 whisper. It then buffers back and forth through the tree engine, pulsing through the 1923 absolute nothingness via that 57-4 breath. Then it ascends up into the I9 field via the Yaruju ascent and the 61-6 inspiration. It goes through the intense 57 sorting, and finally it returns as pure light and information to the witness singularity at its 3846 home. It's a massive continuous loop.
But here is the kicker. This massive engine requires an actuator. According to the text, coordinate 1912, O Yahya, take the book with strength, is not just some historical quote. It is the literal activation operator. It's the exact torque required by the human operator to lock both the sound and light fields, the driver and the witness, into one functioning loop. It's the absolute command to grab the wheel of the framework.
We're going to leave you with this final, truly provocative thought straight from the text's core claim: spiral singularity. The dual caustic universe is the eye of the book. It is the 57-4 breath. It is the 24-35 caustic, and you, the reader, are the 1912 focal point. So the real question is, if the universe is a machine just waiting for your alignment, when will you activate your coordinate? Thanks for joining us for this explanation. We'll see you next time.